Hey, I'm back with No Frills Hi-Fi. Today I'm going to do things a little bit different. I did an unboxing video of this Pathos Acoustics InPoLRemix MkII. It's a Class A tube amp. It is a little bit different than most. I kind of went over the details of it in the unboxing, so I'm not going to go over all that again. You can go back and read that one or look on their website for specs and stuff like that. But I just kind of wanted to go over like how it sounds to me in my listening space. This isn't normally where I sit. Obviously, I don't sit just right next to one speaker, but I figured I ought to at least have the amp in view. So just kind of put on a record that I just got that I'm really enjoying, and I'm just going to kind of sit here and chill, tell you a little bit of my experience with this amplifier. So I guess first off, since I've got it going, listening to Eric Hirschberg's Secondhand Smoke. This album just came out on vinyl. It's been out for a little while. But I just got it. It's actually a signed copy because I think it's like the first 500 or so are signed. Definitely would check it out. But what I really like about what this amp does, it just has an incredible amount of detail. It sounds very real, very kind of smooth. It's a tube amp. I mean, it's kind of got that warm sound to it. But I think the thing that really struck me about it is the silence. And I know that sounds kind of weird to say about something that's designed to make noise, but it's just in between the notes is so quiet and so clear. And what I mean by that is like the intro to some songs like Hell's Bells by AC/DC. You've kind of got that time in between those bells, so when they finally hit and you hear that, it's just magic. I mean, it's like it just kind of comes out of the ether, and I never really noticed that time in between as much. It kind of builds that anticipation, like Dire Straits' Money for Nothing, like the intro is Sting singing, it kind of builds up. This amp really just has that emotion with it, that power, that feeling that it's just, I don't know, it's really hard to describe. Some other ones that kind of sounded like that to me, I listened to Metallica's Black Album. Nothing Else Matters, The Unforgiven. It just kind of has that same feeling to it. Prince's 7 is amazing on here. It's a good song anyway, but also just the vocals on it are really crisp, clear, particularly in the highs. The lows are good. I'll be honest, I'm using some DefTech BP 9020s. They're probably not the best speakers for this amp. Songs like Sinead O'Connor's Nothing Compares to You. Of course, there's a lot of silence in that in between too, but her vocals are really high, and they just sound like magic. Steve Winwood's Back in the High Life Again. Just anything Steve Winwood, of course, is really good, but that one really struck me with this, just the sound of the instruments, the vocals, music from Big Pink by the band, really, really good. Some of the stuff with the band, I did notice some of the lows weren't, I don't know, I don't want to misrepresent it because of the speakers that I've got, but some of them seemed a little bit bass heavy. If you're not familiar with these speakers I was talking about, they do have self-powered subs in them, so I'm getting that coming through. But I do think that the amplifier navigated it really well. Bass was still really tight, sounded really good. It just wasn't as punchy as what I would have liked. And I'm definitely getting that in the mid and the trebles, so I feel like it's probably these speakers, because no matter what amp I use, the bass kind of suffers a little bit. These speakers are great for cinema. They're great for, you know, watching movies. They're not really made for this. I am working on that, but not there yet. Another great album I listened to was Live, Throwing Copper. That's always been a great album. When you get something like that, that's a really kind of fast-paced, kind of almost thunderous music that, you know, really kicks it out. This amp really just didn't skip a beat. I mean, it to the note played everything. All the notes, you know, they ring out really well. Everything just seems really tight and nice. I think I left the remote somewhere. You know, remotes get lost. That's just kind of the way things are. But yeah, don't know where I put that thing. Which, oh, there it is, right in front of the turntable. So I'll try to grab that. I'm going to turn that down a little bit. One thing I will say that I noticed, there we go. The amp, I've got some fairly sensitive speakers. They're not, like I said, you know, the best for this, but in a room this big, I'm in a pretty large room here. If you're sitting at the back of the room or standing at the back of the room, it gets plenty loud. It is fine for the way that I listen to music. Now, if you listen to music crazy loud and like you can't hear yourself think, in a big room, you probably want to look at some of Pathos' other options. This probably isn't the amp for you unless you've just got some crazy sensitive speakers. It is a Class A amp, so it is not going to push the watts that, you know, you normally see. Like, you hear about, you know, more watts the better. Class A's aren't really quite that way. I'm not going to get into a lot of details. This is no frills hi-fi. But what I will say is it sounds very good in this room with these speakers. In a big room like this, and it's not built for sound. This is not a soundproof kind of room where the walls are non-reflective and all that. If you're further away, that bass that I was talking about, it is more noticeable that it almost kind of, the bass sort of, I don't want to say it's too much, but you definitely feel the bass a lot more than everything else. Again, I've got self-powered subs, so that's probably what it is. But it's still, you know, from the back of the room, mid-volume, it's still very clear. It would be at mid-volume in the back of the room kind of hard to hear. You would need to crank it up. I will say, though, at a comfortable listening level, there's nowhere in this room that it doesn't sound phenomenal. Even with the issues I talked about with the bass, where it's not maybe quite, I'm really having trouble describing it. It's just not as realistic sounding, if that makes sense. But again, it's also not powered just by the amp. So anywhere in the room at a reasonable volume, it sounds great. You turn the volume up, you're not going to lose any of that detail. It still sounds really, really good. At the really high end of the volume, I did notice that the bass was really overpowering, so I did turn down the subs a little bit, and definitely helped with that a lot. If you have, you know, regular just passive subs, passive woofers, I think it's going to be fine. I think these are just not really made for this. I will say I really love the remote for this. A lot of amps that I've reviewed, they don't come with a remote. it is kind of nice if somebody walks in. I've got kids. I've got 5 and a 7-year-old. So when they run up and want to talk to me and I'm jamming out, it's nice to not have to get up to be able to turn the volume down. Obviously, I'm listening to mostly vinyl, so I'm getting up anyway. What I will say, though, about the remote that I really like is just the way that it's built. It's very simple. There's not a whole lot of buttons. I don't know if you can see that. Let me look at my monitor. Yeah. It's just a very simple remote. It's a very simple amp on the outside as far as usability. So I really like that. It's one of those you can just kind of turn on and there it is. I am, or have, listened to the built-in DAC. I almost have to take back what I said in the unboxing video. I had said, and I truly believe this, that I don't like built-in DACs. DACs are digital to analog converter. If you're not familiar, it converts a digital signal like from a CD or MP3 player or something like that or a streamer to analog. So it has that analog feel to it. I don't like built-in DACs. DAC technology changes. So over the years, this would be an amp that I would leave to my grandkids. This is an amp that you keep the tubes changed every now and then. Don't mistreat it. It's going to last a lifetime and then some. The DAC, though, that technology gets outdated. It gets upgraded. It changes. We may not even be able to predict what the future has for something like that. So 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now, it might be very different. So I prefer to buy a separate that I can then upgrade separately without basically wasting close to $1,000 on an internal DAC. That being said, I listen to this DAC and I listen to the same albums on vinyl, and it's an incredible DAC. I mean, it really, getting a little dry. It really sounds amazing. The detail is amazing. I'm not going to say that it keeps up with a record. It doesn't, but it's very close. It is very close. So I'm not a big DAC guy, but if I'm, got a party, got people hanging out, I don't want to have to keep changing records. And I definitely don't want other people changing my records unless they know records. So if you don't know vinyl, don't touch my vinyl. I'll show you how. But if I don't feel like flipping records around and changing them, a DAC is a great option. And I have to say, I would take back what I said about this. I would buy the internal DAC. It sounds phenomenal. I feel like even if new technology comes out in the next 5 years, I probably don't need it. If it came out in 10 years, I think $1,000, I'd consider I got my money's worth in 10 years. Certainly in 20, 30, 40, like I was saying. So I don't think you're going to find a better DAC, better sounding DAC for that price. It could just be that it's because it's matched to that system. It's built by Pathos, it's designed to use with this amp. Maybe there's something to that. I'm sure there probably is. But I would definitely consider that. If you are at all considering it, I would go for it. Not a whole lot more that I can really say about it. I did play it for quite a while. I left it running for quite a while before I listened to it, just to kind of break it in. I don't feel like it really had a break-in period, but I did get it as a loaner. This is a demo unit. It's probably been listened to a bunch, so I would always break in an amp. I feel like you just always need that burn-in period, so I don't know what it is. I'd say probably 20 to 40 hours, something like that, but I didn't get to experience that. What I will say, though, is there is a warm-up to it. If you just turn this amp on, throw a record on, and start playing immediately, it's probably a good 15 to 20 minutes till it really warms up. It sounds like it should. It's probably another few hours till it really gets to where it needs to be. I will say this amp, if you just turn it off by the remote or hit the button on the front and turn it off, you don't really go through that. It stays on standby, it's warm, it's ready to go, no problem. But if you're like me, you don't really like keeping electronics on, I always turn off my filter, so the power filter turns everything off. So yeah, I gotta wait a few minutes, but typically by the time I turn it on, I clean a record, decide what I want to listen to, pour a drink, you know, that kind of thing. I've got some time. It's not really a consideration for me. Other than that, I will say, I mean, everything is better than face value. This thing sounds incredible. Even just right now, listening to this I Love Not Drinking song, it's a great song. You know, I'm sitting next to one speaker, but just the vocals, the harmonies come through really, really well. I just can't get enough of this amp, just the way that it sounds. I know it's a loaner, but they'll be lucky to get it back. Now, if you're listening, Pathos, I promise I'll send it back, but I might keep it longer than I probably should. But yeah, check it out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I would definitely give this amp a look or a listen. If you have a chance to play it in a store or something, I would take it. You don't do it if you're not ready to take it home, because if you listen to this, I have a feeling you're going to be buying it. But I appreciate it, and we'll catch you later.